Temujin is born on the banks of the Onan River in the mountains of Mongolia. His mother Holin holds the newborn child in her arms inside a small yurt. According to legend, the boy came into the world clutching a clot of blood in his fist, a sign that he was destined to become a great warrior. His father Yasuge, chief of the small Borjigin clan, named him Temujin, after a Tatar warlord he had defeated just before the birth of his son. When Temujin was only 9 years old, his father was poisoned by Tatar enemies during a journey across the steppe. Yasuge returned to camp, fell ill, and died within days. The clan immediately abandoned the family. They took the livestock, took the food, and left Holin alone with her children to survive or die in the open steppe. This betrayal became the first and perhaps the most important lesson of Temujin's life. Trust no one who has not proven their loyalty through action. For several years, the family survived alone. They hunted small animals, dug roots from the frozen earth, and ate whatever the harsh steppe provided. Holin raised her children with iron discipline and taught them one thing above all: stay together, no matter what. By the age of 11, Temujin was already hunting on horseback and handling a bow with skill. But life continued to throw him into danger. He and his brother Kasar tracked down and killed their half-brother Bektar, who had been stealing food and claiming authority over the family. It was a brutal act, but the steppe of the 12th century was a brutal place, and survival demanded hard decisions. Not long after, warriors from the rival Taishut clan captured Temujin and locked him in a wooden collar, a device that left him unable to feed himself or sleep properly. It was public humiliation designed to break him. But Temujin escaped. With the help of a sympathetic man from within the clan, he slipped away into the night and disappeared into the steppe. The escape only strengthened his reputation as a man who could not be broken. At around 16 years old, Temujin married Borte, the girl his father had chosen for him years before. The marriage was an important political alliance. Her father was chief of the Ongira tribe, but shortly after the wedding, Merkite raiders attacked the camp and kidnapped Borte. For Temujin, this was both a personal insult and an opportunity. He turned to two powerful figures for help: his blood brother Jamuka and the powerful Khan Togrul of the Karaite tribe. Together, they crushed the Merkites and rescued Borte. From this moment began the long and bloody road to supreme power. For approximately 20 years, from the mid-1180s to 1206, Temujin waged continuous war against every tribe of the Mongolian steppe. He fought alongside Togrul and Jamuka at first, but allies slowly became rivals. Jamuka was intelligent and charismatic, a match for Temujin in almost every way. But between them, rivalry grew until they became enemies. Temujin defeated the Tatars, the very people who had poisoned his father. He defeated the Merkites again, then the Naimans, then the Karaites. Each victory he used wisely. Some enemies he destroyed completely. Others he absorbed into his army on equal terms, regardless of their tribal origin. This was revolutionary in Mongolian society, where clan identity determined everything. Temujin built his army on a decimal system, units of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000. Commanders were chosen by ability, not by blood. Loyalty to him personally was worth more than any noble heritage. In 1204, the last great rival fell. The Naiman Khan Taiyang was defeated, and the Mongolian steppe was united for the first time in generations. In 1206, at the Great Kurultai Assembly on the banks of the Onan River, Temujin was proclaimed Genghis Khan, Great Khan, Lord of the Ocean, Master of the Universe. He was approximately 44 years old. Immediately after his proclamation, Genghis Khan built the foundations of a state. He introduced the Yasa, a single code of law binding on all Mongols, with death as the penalty for violation. He created the Yam, a postal relay system of stations with fresh horses spread across the entire empire, allowing orders and intelligence to travel at unprecedented speed. Merchants and ambassadors received protection and freedom of movement across Mongol lands. Religious tolerance was officially established. Genghis Khan imposed no faith on anyone and exempted clergy of all religions from taxation. In 1207, the Mongols subjugated the Tangut kingdom of Xixia in northwestern China, forcing it to pay tribute. This was a testing of the army before greater wars. In 1211, Genghis Khan launched a massive invasion of the Jin dynasty that ruled northern China. The Jurchen army of Jin was numerous and well-equipped, backed by fortified cities in the Great Wall. But the Mongols proved unstoppable. They hired Chinese engineers, deployed siege machines, catapults, and fire weapons. In 1215, Zhongdu, the capital of Jin, the future Beijing, fell. The war with Jin would continue long after the death of Genghis Khan, but he had broken its spine. The most devastating of all the conquests was the campaign against the Khwarezm Empire in 1219 to 1221. Khwarezm was the wealthiest state in Central Asia, covering the territories of modern Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Iran, and Afghanistan. Its ruler Shah Muhammad II made a fatal mistake. He ordered the execution of Mongol ambassadors in a trade caravan. It was effectively a declaration of war. Genghis Khan responded with terrifying force. An army of 100 to 150,000 horsemen divided into multiple columns and attacked from many directions simultaneously. Great cities fell one after another. Bukhara fell in February 1220. Samarkand fell in March of the same year. Urgench fell after a long siege. Merv, Nishapur, Herat, all were taken and destroyed. The populations of the greatest cities were deliberately annihilated as a warning to any who dared resist. Shah Muhammad fled and died alone on a small island in the Caspian Sea. The entire campaign took approximately 2 to 3 years. A flourishing civilization was almost completely destroyed. Some regions of Central Asia did not recover demographically for several centuries. While Genghis Khan completed the conquest of Central Asia, his greatest generals, Jaybi and Subutai, conducted an unprecedented raid to the west. Passing through Persia and the Caucasus, defeating the Georgian army, they emerged onto the Black Sea steppe. In 1223, at the Battle of the Kalka River, they met the combined Russian and Cuman army and annihilated it. Russian princes faced the Mongols for the first time and suffered a catastrophic defeat. But the Mongols did not advance further. They turned and rode back east. It was reconnaissance. The true invasion of Russia would come later, under Genghis Khan's grandson, Batu. In 1226, despite his advanced age, Genghis Khan personally led the final campaign against the Tunguts of Xixia, who had dared to break their earlier submission. This was revenge he had remembered for years. In August 1227, while the campaign was still ongoing, Genghis Khan died. He was approximately 65 years old. The exact cause of death remains unknown to this day. Sources mention illness, complications from a fall from his horse during a hunt, a Tangut arrow, and even poisoning. Mongolian chronicles deliberately concealed the circumstances of his death. By his own order, his death was hidden from the army until the end of the campaign. Soldiers continued to fight, not knowing their Khan was gone. The Tanguts were destroyed. His body was carried back to Mongolia. The place of burial was kept in the strictest secrecy. According to legend, all those who encountered the funeral procession on the road were killed. After the burial, a herd of horses was driven over the grave to erase every trace. The grave of Genghis Khan has never been found, despite the efforts of archaeologists across nearly 8 centuries. By the time of his death, the Mongol Empire covered approximately 24 million square kilometers and continued to grow under his heirs, eventually reaching 33 million. This was the largest contiguous land empire in the history of humanity. Approximately half the population of the known world lived under Mongol rule. He lived 65 years. 20 of those years were spent uniting the Mongolian tribes. 21 years were spent conquering the world. Historians still debate his legacy. Some see him as a monstrous destroyer of civilizations, others as the creator of the first true system of international trade and diplomacy connecting East and West. He was most likely both at the